and something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever. He told the guy, he said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. You know that one when you lose and you ain't got no sportsmanship? You know that one? Normally, you lose, you just man up. You don't want to shake their hand, but you do it anyway because that's a part of the game. But when you get so tired of losing.
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Listen to me. Pain is temporary. It may last for a minute or an hour or a day or even a year. But eventually it will subside. And something else will take its place. If I quit, however,
All right, we live. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm your host. My name is Prince Williams, the real Prince Williams, and I'm here to help you flow and grow so you can expand your mind so you can live an elevated lifestyle. We're going to have these high-level interactive conversations today. The topic of discussion is I am. And what we're going to talk about in your I amness is how to overcome obstacles. So, in this discussion, I'm going to be explaining how you need to understand who you are, how to focus your mind and your attention on what's for you and what's not for you, or what's against you. And then the second half of the program, we're going to have a special guest. His name is Matt Gay. He's a really close friend of mine. We're going to interview him, get his thoughts, get some understanding on how he built his business of over 25 years. He runs a supplement store, grassroots type of dude, really, really interactive, really loyal. You're gonna learn a lot from this guy, and we're gonna be talking about how he's overcome many of his struggles and how he's still here, even though in the face of turmoil and chaos, he may have he could have easily shut his doors. So I want you to stay locked in. We're going to enjoy this discussion, and we're going to get right into it. But first, let me go over what I mean by your I amness, or I am. This is deep. This is very, very deep, y'all. So we're going to talk about the power of the words and how words cast spells. And that's actually where we get the word spelling from. So when you're spelling, you're putting together vibrations and words, and you're casting those spells out into the universe. That's why you got to be careful of the other things you say. So this isn't to scare anyone, but I do want to just bring some awareness to some of the dark areas of your life. So you cannot be afraid and act in fear, but you can have power over your life. So many of you guys who have followed me have heard me say that I am God. Now, I know that makes a few people uncomfortable, but I need you to kind of stay locked in and tune in on what I mean by that, because if God is in every one of us, are we not part of the greater whole? Are we not part of the bigger part? I'm not saying I am the whole, or I'm the bigger piece of the puzzle or the utmost God, but I am a part of the God. So therefore, if I am part of the God, am I not a God? Follow me now. So my job isn't for you to, or for me to make you believe me, but my job is to kind of start planting some seeds so they can eventually take root. So I was reading, and there's a famous psychologist, and his name is Carl Jung. And one of his quotes, he says that a tree cannot ascend, it cannot grow into the heavens unless first his roots reach down into hell. Now, this is all literal, this is all allegory, this is all metaphorical speak. But a tree can only grow as tall or as deep as its roots can go. That's what he's getting at. So you cannot have the lighter parts without the darker parts. This speaks to so many aspects of the duality of your life. And it's a very powerful concept because you can't have light without dark. You can't have yin without the yang. You can't have one without the other. It's two sides of the same coin, meaning that both aspects of yourself, your shadow self and your light self are present in you at all times. But the power is in how you choose. And what you choose is going to be the dominant experience that you experience in your life. So if you don't understand both sides of your nature, and you try to cover up the parts that you don't like, those dark areas start to get pushed down and they get suppressed. And then you become unconscious of those things. And then those things start to kind of present themselves in ways that you probably weren't aware of. And they usually kind of present themselves in the most or in the worst possible way. And it's only through acceptance of both sides of your nature, understanding both the power in the darkness and the power in the light, where you become whole And that's your true God self. That's your higher level of awareness. How can you grow if you don't first have something to grow from? You got to go through it to get through it. It's the greater part of your awareness that I can speak to that concept in your life. I'm trying to get you guys to understand there is a higher level of consciousness that you're trying to attain. You're either going to attain it by getting there the hard way, or you're going to attain it by actually, with the power of intention, setting out, doing those things to do the work to be able to get there without necessarily beating your head up against the wall. Notice that when I speak words and words cast spells, the word, the vibrations of the words is the key to the power, and that's the power that holds the key to life and death in your life. Now, obviously, I'm speaking esoterically, and I'm not necessarily speaking literally, but it can be literal. I'm not necessarily talking about the physical death or the physical life, although sometimes those things can become self-fulfilling prophecies. That's why you got to be careful. What I am talking about is the life and death of whether your life is ruled by light manifestations or your dark manifestations. It's the difference of the good things coming into your life or the bad things ruling your life. Again, you have to be careful because you are, I am. Just think about it. You talk about it all the time. I am this and I am that. This is who I am. That's who people think I am. But traditionally, I am was always used in religious cultures, especially in Christianity, where they referred to I am as God. So there was a story in the Bible talking about Moses and when he was stopped because there was a burning bush. And he was perplexed because the burning bush was not consumed. It wasn't consumed in the fire. I don't need to get too deep into that story. The point of all that was he did ask because the burning bush spoke to him. And so he spoke back and he asked, he said, who is it that I'm speaking to? And the entity that spoke back to him said, I am that I am, meaning that I'm everything. I'm limitless. I can't be defined because I am all of that. Understand? So how many times do we call ourselves what we call ourselves? How many times do we set our own boundaries in our lives? Right? How many times we do those things based off of our biases and beliefs and things that people that gave to us, our fears and our predispositions. We become bound and limited by our own definitions. Now, granted, sometimes we allow others to define us. But many times, which is more powerful, our own self-concept and our own self-awareness is the definition that we give ourselves. It's our own internal life. It is not so much what is external to us that's the biggest influence. It's what we kind of are thinking about ourselves. Make sense? Others can only see your level of vibration of where you're at. And so they're always reflecting back to you the mirror that you're projecting. So they're seeing and feeling what you feel about yourself. It was you that caused that. And it was always you, but it started from you. And so when you start to accept responsibility, also accept that aspect of power of yourself, that's when you can sit back and you can affect change in your life. Not just at the surface level, but at your core level, at your gut, at your intuition, your God self, your higher self. Now, I say all that to say, you have the power to speak life and death into your life. but you also have the power to express and create. You're that powerful. So you don't have to wish for things to happen. You can command things to happen. You can command those things to happen, not so much against you, but for you. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get what you want all the time. It doesn't work like that. It's about understanding that your deepest desires, the stuff that makes you just won't go away. You know, the stuff that's been with you for a long time. Those things at the gut level, the stuff that you can't shake, usually centered around your talents and also centered around enriching other people. Those are the things that are going to come to you if you're doing the right things, if you're speaking the right thing. So there's a saying that your talents will always make room for you. Now, I know this wholeheartedly to be true. It's the things that you're good at, and everybody has something that they're good at that is inherent to you at your core. These are the things that are going to enrich not only other people, but bring abundance into your life. Now, I say it that way before a reason, but I want to make a strong point here that it's your words, it's your I amness, it's what you're defining yourself at that shapes who you are. Now, what sounds more powerful? I am going to have more life and abundance, or I will have more life and abundance. Obviously, it's the latter. One is a strong statement, but the other is a decree. That's a command. I'm speaking that into the universe. It has to come to pass. Similar, but not the same. You got to understand it's how you say a thing, not the thing itself. And when you do those things, when you start to command those things, it starts to almost become magical. You'll start to see things where you thought you didn't have control. Now you have control of your life, right? And this is backed by a lot of different esoteric kind of teachings. You know, there's secret teachings in not only the scriptures, there's sutras in the Bible, in the Quran. There's a lot of different areas in which they're all saying the same things. You just gotta search and you gotta find it, but it's out there. And when you start to embody what is being spoken to you, or embody what's being teaching to you, there is a saying that says, "Out of the mouth, your heart speaks." So what's inside of you, that's what's going to come outside of you. So before a word can be formulated, it has to first be ruminated in the mind. That means you have to first be thinking about it. So the more you think about it, we all been there. The more you think about something, the more it starts to affect your internal. It starts to resonate in your heart almost. You can feel it in your body. So when you speak a thing, it comes from inside of you. It comes from within, not without. That's not a surface level of thinking. That's deep inside of you. That's why you have to be careful about speaking off the top of your head, because wise men often speak before they think, or think before they speak. Sorry about that. Remember, words hurt, and words can kill, literally kill you. Because after they're spoken, there's usually a backlash if you're not careful. And that backlash often resonates long after people remember what you said to them, because they remember how that made them feel. And you can't always reconcile what you said, and you can't always take back what was done. That's the power that you have. And conversely, it works in the opposite way as well. You can speak blessings and you can uplift a person, and that also will make them feel a certain way. That could be the very miracle that they needed and they wanted. You cast a spell on them. Spells aren't reserved for witches and warlocks. That's a bunch of nonsense. That's fantasized propaganda mostly. Spells are words and always been words. They're vibrations. Vibrations put together in any format create sound. Sounds interrupt energy fields. That's just plain old science. I'm not making that up. That ain't a Prince thing. That's a science thing. And once you interrupt the energetic field, that goes out to the universe. The universe has no right or wrong. It's just responding to your dominant vibration. You see the connection there? This is why it's so powerful when I say you have to be or you have to become. That's just you expressing your dominant vibration, being who you are, understanding who you are, understanding that you are God in human form. It's defining who you are. The key word is defining who you are. This has nothing to do with what anybody else says of you. Even Jesus of the Bible asked of his people, who do others say that I am? Not because he was concerned about or did he care about what others thought. He was making a point. Because he was saying to his disciples, I don't care what people think of me. Your self-worth isn't defined by what others are defining you as. I am that I am means that you can be and create any version of yourself you see fit. And that version of yourself will only be reflected back to you in the mirror because people can only see what you see in yourself. All you have to do is take control of your life. Take responsibility for your actions. Take responsibility of your mind and your mental states. And eventually, the words you speak will shape your reality. It will shape everything that the reality that you're living in. So I'm going to make this really easy for you to understand. Words are decrees. They're commands. Meaning everything you say has an equal and opposite reaction. Everything you say will line up and manifest it, whether it's good or bad. Think about everything you have said in the past. Majority of the times, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And sometimes it happens. A lot of times it happens. So don't be careless with your words. And we've all heard this before. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. That's not just speaking to when you speak to another person. That's also when you're speaking to yourself. Because everything starts with self anyway. It applies directly to yourself. If you don't have anything constructive to say, shut the fuck up. Literally, change your thoughts is inversely related to what you think and what you say. What I mean by this is that even the words you speak to yourselves holds power over your own vibrations. And so whatever you continue to think on a regular basis becomes a habit. And then whatever becomes a habit becomes a lifestyle. And eventually what you believe, what you're saying to yourself, you start to believe. And what you believe eventually is what you start to speak. So I'm not perfect at this. Nobody is. What I'm asking you to do is start to think about, be intentional about how you go about speaking, speaking to others, speaking to yourself. Go quiet, be still every now and then. It's okay. You don't always have to talk. People who talk don't know. That means basically people who usually always have something to say don't have a mind for learning, don't have a mind for listening. They're listening so they can speak to the next statement that they're listening to. They're not speaking to understand. Take your ego out of it. It's okay to be quiet sometimes. Your ego is only trying to protect yourself. The defined self that you're giving yourself, it's not real. So don't worry about it. It doesn't matter what anybody has to say. Sometimes people are talking because they need to be heard. Just be quiet. Go within. So now we're going to go to the second half of our discussion. I'm going to end my live on Instagram, and we're going to continue the discussion on my live stream. I'm on Twitch. If you follow me on Twitch, you can finish up the Twitch discussion with my guest, Matt Gaines. I'm going to tap in with him real quick, and we're going to finish up our discussion. And the theme is overcoming obstacles. So tap in if you want to tap in. What I also need you guys to do on my live stream is my ebook is out. It's 7 ways to lead with authenticity. And so it's on Amazon. It's a cheap book. It's $2.99. Get on there. Get the book. It's an easy read. But I'm dropping keys. Support your boy.
You're right.
Hey, have you tapped in?
No, I'm at it right now, just waiting for the signal.
Hey, yep, there you go. All right.
Yeah. Ooh.
Matt, can you hear me? having some technical difficulties here. I don't know, Matt. Try. Can you hear me? Looks like he's trying to connect. Can you hear me? Matt, can you hear me? Matt, can you hear me? No voice. Still can't hear me? Yeah, let me call you. Let me call you real quick.
Yeah.
Can you hear me at all, or
I can hear you on the other one. My image came up on there, and I could see both of us, but I couldn't hear you at all.
so you can't hear me at all?
I hear you right now, just through the phone.
Okay. Yeah, let me check my settings in.
Because it worked earlier when we practiced it up.
Yeah, it did work earlier, so I'm not sure what's going on here. Matt,
Yep.
we might have to. Not sure what the hang up is here.
You want me to restart mine real quick?
Yeah, try that, and if not, then we'll just have to.
So it's a little square. Okay, I'll try that. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
right, can you hear me? I got sound on you.
I can hear you now. Yes.
All right, clear as day on this end.
Yes, perfect.
All right, we good. We're good.
Hey, Matt.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I am well.
Yes, sir.
Full disclosure, we got a celebrity hanging out in the background over here. We got Mr. Matt Suarez in the captain's chair over here, just supervising.
Hey, Matt.
So he was commenting on the Instagram stream.
Yeah, that that was the first half. So now
Yeah, he was on there. I saw we went on. A few other people we know were on there, so that's cool.
But what's going on, you guys?
Man, hey, we're just hanging out. Just talking about stimulant intake, sleep versus no sleep. The usual stuff that we've been talking about.
Yeah. If I haven't introduced Matt, Matt's a really good friend of mine. He owns a local supplement store in town. He's actually one of the first people I met when I came to San Luis Obispo. He welcomed me. I walked into his establishment. I said I needed some, I don't even know what I asked for, some creatine probably.
Yeah.
Hey, and I don't know how we became friends. We became friends after that. And he's probably one of the most loyal men that I've ever met.
Appreciate it. Same to you. Same.
We've laughed about some things. We cried about some things.
We cried a few times. Yeah. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. We exchanged ideas. We're developing some stuff, man. We got a lot of stuff in the works, man. And I feel like I've known him for over 25 years, and I've only known him for just a few years.
That's great.
I know, right? Yeah, So MG Sports is his shop. Please, if you're local, San Luis Obispo, come support him. He has all the ergogenic and supplements that you need, and plus, we just leave it at plus.
Yeah, plus. Go. A little bit of everything.
Yeah, tell me about yourself, Matt.
Oh man, all right. Well, I like the intro. That was pretty solid. And I just side note before we jump into a lot of, I'm on the Real LLC, the Bonfire, checking out the hoodies and the t-shirts and all of that. It's the first time I've seen this, which is amazing because I see you every day.
I know, right?
You gotta add a black hoodie though to Stoic. You gotta have a black hoodie. I mean, that's all I wear is black. So
hey, that's the Stoic is coming, you guys. Hey, yeah, Stoic is coming.
That indigo hoodie though, like really. So that's cool. Big guy sizes and all. But anyway, so yeah, just the breakdown, just a little intro is that I grew up in Bakersfield for the first 19, 20 years. Went to school, went to 9 colleges. I finally found my fit, and Cal Poly SLO finally let me graduate. And yeah, man, I mean, career path and all that, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. It was business degree, marketing, and management. And my dad went to Poly, went back to Bakersfield as a CPA. And as I was leaving, he said, whatever you do, don't come back to Bakersfield, not just because I'm turning your bedroom into a gym or an office and you don't have a place to come back, but just don't, because he always regretted, the swapping out the beach for 117 degrees and, all of that. But, he's a good man. That's where, my mom was and where we were going to be. So anyway, I decided to go ahead and listen to that advice for whatever reason. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I stayed.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think where, people tell you, do something you love, you never work a day, blah, blah, blah. It's work. I mean, that's partially true. But I started looking around for my senior project, and I was looking into what was around here. I'm glad I didn't open a donut shop, even though it was what we needed at the time.
Hey, but you would have done well with the donut shop.
Well, but I'd be dead right now.
Well,
all things in moderation, right?
That's right.
Yeah, but anyway, and so I was just started getting into working out and selling all that. That was back in, that was back in October of '99. I just don't do the math.
So I'm gonna put a little spin on 99. I wasn't even out of high school yet. Actually, no, I was out of high school. I'm kidding. I'll take that back. I was barely out of high school. Yeah. So.
What are biggest pleasures in life? Finding, and he does it every.
Hold on. I'm listening to you.
Oh no! Oh, just little steps away.
No, I'm here.
I'm afraid my mom's sending pictures or something. My mom loves him, so it's one of those things, stuff like that. Shout out to mom. I'm sure listening, if not now, very from now.
So
yeah, but to get into it was that I realized there's like PNC and there was another independent supplement store here. They're all gone. But I really felt like Bakersfield, where supplement stores were on every corner.
Did you freeze? There you go. Internet connection.
Yeah. I had a bunch of stuff stacked up on my router. Hopefully that'll straighten us out. But anyway, yeah. So, like I was saying, there was a decent amount of stuff here, but I just saw a need, and I figured let's do it. Let's try to fill a need and doing something that I don't hate. And here we go. 22, 23 years later, still going, still getting after it every day.
So, how did you know that the supplement store was the route that you wanted to go? I mean, you could have done anything. You got a business degree from Cal Poly, and supplements, in the 90s was still, kind of fringe, outside of
definitely
outside of maybe GNC or something like that.
Yeah, but even still there, that was still basically herbs and vitamins and stuff. It was just, EAS was just coming out with phosphagen creatine a couple years before that. So yeah, it was. I had no idea that it was poised to blow up the way that it did.
So what made you want to take the chance? What made you want to take the chance and move forward in that direction? I know we talked about amongst ourselves. This was kind of a research project for you when you were at Poly. Tell me something more about that.
Yeah, it was my full senior project. I took a whole year for my senior project to research it, and I thought, if there's a time to fail, it's not after you're out of college and you're trying to make a life and whatever. You might as well, if you can get it started while you're going to school. And if it doesn't work out, hey, all right, no big deal. You lost a little bit of money and some time, but you can still go get a job in the real world. And I felt like at Cal Poly at the time, there were no entrepreneurial classes at all. It was how to go to work for Apple, how to go to work for an old IBM, those companies, and at all about that. Matter of fact, my first quarter project advisor said, "Hey, I ran the numbers on this whole thing, the margins, the whole whatever," and said, "I don't understand how you're going to eat." Well, it's a good thing I sell food supplements then, because I'll be all right.
Protein
here
shakes
right now for as long as I have fresh water, I can survive in here for 5 years comfortably right now. But so anyway, that was just me being a little smart ass or whatever. But I went back on campus to go do some speaking. I ran into him at my brand new car that I couldn't afford at the time, but I was just flexing. And he goes, "I guess I was wrong about you." I said, "I guess you were." That was a great feeling. That was so great.
Well,
that was it. It was.
If you guys don't know anything about Matt Gaines, he is definitely a man of flair. He has his own lane. He rides and rocks in his own lane, for sure. So when he says he was flexing, trust me, it was something big and it was something flashy.
Yeah. That's that's to put it mildly and politely.
Hey, he is not afraid.
Yeah.
He is not afraid, you guys, to be his own man, his own person. This is what we were talking about on the live stream earlier. Is, you have to you have to define yourself. And so, Matt, tell me how you not only defined yourself when people were telling you maybe this is not the route that you should be going.
I got a lot of it too. And, some of it was, I don't want to say haters, but, doubters.
Mm-hmm.
Give it that, maybe some of it was constructive doubt. Maybe some of it was just haters, whatever it was. I mean, I didn't really talk to a whole lot of people in the beginning because I was scared of that at first. And I'm not scared of that anymore. But what turned it around, though, is I was talking about like flexing when they had that car and all that. And I was associating myself with more successful people, like, every book tells you to do and all that. And so I was kind of socially surrounding myself with people that had already done it or were doing it, and, whatever. And somebody was trying to explain to me, I knew what it was, but somebody was offering some advice about fake it till you make it. And I don't like, just the whole, I've talked about reality and,
right.
and the whole, being real about it. The real LLC.
I know, right?
But anyway, but I took it differently. I took it as success begets success. So, you make yourself appear to be successful. Eventually you are successful and you're validating your actions. I'm not saying go out and buy a super sick car that you can afford or whatever to other people. But it worked out all right for me. Well, as my jump off point. And the people start taking me more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And so for everybody, but I still don't recommend the fake it till you make it, because the real is always going to shine through.
Well, you've always talked to me about taking massive action, and so when I hear you say that fake it till you make it, because I really don't like that either, because you just have to become who you want to be, and how do you become, how do you become something unless you take some steps in the direction in which that you want to become,
Yep. So and that's where I give Polly a little, where they, because when I was there anyway, 1,000 years ago, Cal Poly was all about learn by doing. Mm-hmm. Get out there and do it. Just at the same time as the Nike Just Do It campaign came about. And it depends on how you take it. But I mean, really, I threw myself in so many scenarios where I was leading myself as an expert, and I didn't know 10% of what I know now, but I knew enough. I started bringing other people into the industry, helping to light their passion a little bit. I went out and I got my not side company, but our other consulting business, the Own a Supplement Store company, where we go out and open up other supplement stores for people, not as a franchise, but sort of as a business consultant on how to open it. And they pay us up front. We get them open in 21 days, but they're not a franchise. They're not a slave to GNC, Vitamin Shop, corporate payments every month and all that stuff. But anyway, we did that, and I talked to my dad about it. Like I said, he was a CPA, and for the first time since I told him about the store, he was supportive of the store. I told him, hey, I'm going to charge this much money in order for this service. And he's like, well, how is the demand? He asked me all the time. And it was crazy. He was like, I think he gave me like $500 so that I could start advertising and getting it going, which was great. I mean, that was a huge amount of money to me back then. And some months, it still can be. But, that was huge back then. I didn't expect that from him at all. They were very, very supportive in every other way. But anyway, it wasn't but 5 more days after I spent that in advertising that we had our first gig to open a store in Birmingham, Alabama. And next thing I know, at the end of the month, me and my buddy are flying out there and into an open 500 square foot empty building, vanilla shell. And in 5 days, we turned that into a fully functioning, fully operational, trained supplement store.
Wow.
And it was a great feeling. That was learn by doing, even bigger than opening my own store.
Wow.
Because I show up and the guy gets a lot of money, and we show up as in, wow, what should we use for shelf?
Wow.
So, it's come along. We've done it 54 times now.
54 times.
54 times. And of the 54 stores that we've done, I want to say at least a third of those have gone on and opened additional stores years later.
So you would say that you're a pioneer in this industry?
I mean, I think so now. I feel quite comfortable saying that because I hear all these consultants and people. I'm not talking trash on them at all, but I see people with their own, podcasts in their stores and like, man, I've been doing this for 11 years. I'm like, that's cute. That's cute. See me. We'll talk about it.
Hey, well, I know you're good at what you do. You're good at what you do.
I think that means a lot, especially from you.
I mean, he's very personable. Very personable. When you go into the shop, please ask him questions. Most likely, you'll see me sitting in the seat right next to him, minding my own business.
Like now, absolutely.
The theme of this discussion is how to overcome obstacles. So tell me some barriers to entry that you have to kind of really try to overcome to really get to where you are right now. And and I really admire some of the things that you've talked to me about, just some of the things that you've been a part of, and even just right now listening to you, and that's something that I didn't even know, and I'm blown away, man. Like your ceiling is so high, but I know in order to get to the ceiling, there had to be some barriers along the way. Tell me about that.
And absolutely, like I mentioned, that other store that was in town, the one other independent store that was here, and man, and they were here first. They were here 5 years or more before me, and they knew what they were doing. The guy that ran it was an expert in the industry. He worked for Joe Weider back in the day and all that. Man, we just flashed hard. I mean, I thought one time I was going to get my ass kicked at a trade show because he and his boys were rallying up all around me and my boys, all this crap. And they would do stuff like, back when there used to be newspapers and all that. There was like the penny saver thing or whatever. And somebody showed it to me, and it was so ES, like Mileplex or Andro 6 or whatever. And our big advertising thing was we'll match or beat any local price, whatever. So he's taking some stuff and putting it in a big ad that he took out, stuff that cost me $80, and he's putting it there for $9.95, $12.95, and all of this just, and then, people come into a store and say, hey, no, we're sold out right now, but here, take this ad over to California Boulevard, and this guy has to sell it to you for that price.
Wow.
So, yeah. And it took me half a day to catch it and figure out what it was he was doing, because I sent some of my boys over there to buy everything. And obviously it was out in the dude's. He had it out in an SUV, just held set aside.
Yeah.
So, I mean, screw with me. And then two things happened. One, Frank Smith, I still call him my trainer, even though we haven't trained in together in like 5 months. But Frank went in there and told the dude they worked out where you work out. And it was just the two of them in there. And Frank's like, I'm going to wait till you finish your workout, but we're going to have a little conversation about MG Sports and about how you're handling your business. And the guy's like, well, I'm just not going to leave then. He's like, you got to leave sometime, which was cool. But the other thing that was great was Europa Sports and a guy named Eric Hillman and a guy named Dax Joyner had my back. And they, whatever product, because I did sell those products at those prices for half a day, just to honor my agreement, just to show. Anyway, they gave me they sold me back those products at like 80% off just because I got screwed over and they wanted to see me succeed. And if it wasn't for them, that little scheme might have put me out of business.
That's terrible, man.
So
that's freaking terrible.
So I'm grateful to those people for having faith in me and whatever. And so after that, we had our little bickers and things here and there afterwards, but we all grew up. And he had some kids and whatever. They're gone. They're moved away now. But I saw him on the street corner about 3 or 4 months before he left, and it was like a couple old grown men having a talk. Where I saw him, I was like, oh, okay, my little fight or flight kind of jumped in. I'm like, oh, is this going to go down on Higuera at 3 p.m.? Like, what's up? And he's like, hey, what are you up to? I was like, oh, I'll go get my phone fixed. What are you doing? He's like, I got to go to some stupid kid's birthday party and blah, blah, blah. You know, hey, I saw a bird fly by, like we talked about. But
Saw a bird.
And,
Squirrel.
And he said, congratulations on all your success. And I said, yeah, same to you. And he goes, this is how it should have been. I said, same. He's like, sorry. I haven't seen him since, but I respect the dude.
And I'm sure he respects you.
Yeah, that was one of those little obstacles. Now he's living in Nevada and all that, so we don't really anymore. But I'm glad it got squashed like adults.
You know,
So
something
I
like
learned a
that
lot.
would have overthrown somebody or really, discouraged somebody, and they would have, probably thrown in the towel. They would have just gave up. And
Yeah.
So, what helped you kind of continue to move forward? Even, I'm pretty sure that's just one of many stories. What helped you kind of move forward? Or who helped you move forward?
Unfortunately, there are a lot of those. Stories, but I mean, like I said, I got really lucky having supportive friends and family, and getting around people that were more, and luckily, my parents helped me. My dad helped me, like I said at the beginning, but they helped me to learn my own lessons. Like, well, I guess you're just screwed then, aren't you? Like, oh, damn, I guess I am. So, also letting me learn my own lessons. I think was a big part of it, definitely. And it always one of my consistent, and this isn't even an intentional shout out, but Cal Poly Athletics. Cal Poly Athletics has come through, especially football, and helped and been really, really, because they know, like we sell certain things that are not NCAA compliant, but they're fully legal. And as you know, I hate to turn away, a very large sale, but I'm not going to be the guy that's going to screw up somebody's eligibility or make them lose their scholarship. And there was a shop here in town also that closed down on Christmas Day about 3 years ago. It was like my Christmas present. But there was a NutriShop here in town. And so some of our buddies that were in other positions at the team, a few years before, Chris. And I forget which one of them went into NutriShop and just lit that guy up about eligibility and selling to students. And then they were gone not far after that. But it's fortunately, I don't need the money, especially need the way I used to where it was a really hard decision to not sell to those kids. But I'm really glad I stuck to it because nobody in the department now can say anything bad about us. Yeah. So that's been huge. They've been really supportive too. Most of the kids themselves.
And I could testify to that, just being associated with Cal Poly Athletics and knowing some of the the guys that come through there, and Matt has been amazing about holding true to his word, and sometimes it's not about, like as he says, making the sale as much as it is keeping customers because they know that you're going to do the right thing by them, and that's part of the theme as well, is when you're doing the right things, you're thinking the right way, you're saying the right things, it's always going to come back to you in ways that maybe that you may not even understand how it's going to come back, So tell me, in what ways has the community or things come back to you just by giving of yourself in that way?
Well, it's been nice that like I said, even the community, even San Luis itself, has been really, really supportive. They let me do some. I started out doing some charity stuff here and there around the holidays, and I started hosting the holiday parade. Thanks to Adam Montiel from the radio station and Downtown Association people, gave me a chance to start being a host of the holiday parade downtown in SLO. And I think I've done that 14 out of the last 15 years or something. And then let me give myself shout outs and all that through the whole thing. there's a chance over the next couple of years that that I might be their grand marshal, in the back of the convertible and all that, as a local business community contributor or whatever. And that's huge. That's the validation I never expected from all of them.
Mhm.
And then one thing that ties in, because like you said, there's 1,000 stories. I want to go with the good ones. But when I was first starting my Cal Poly senior project experience with this, I ran all the numbers, I got the distributors, and I figured out one day with my buddy Shane, the best way to go was to try to get on a farmer's market. And you used to have to be a downtown business to qualify. So I went to the sports forum. I went all over downtown, but I ended up at the sports forum on Broad and Higuera. And the dude there allowed me to lease a 10 by 10 little spot inside of his store. So I qualified for farmer's market. So for the first 2 years, I was just going out on farmers and hoping to sell anything in my little card table that I had. I'd sell a couple Pro Max bars, maybe a creatine every once in a while. But I didn't realize how much having that store inside was going to help. And so once I started outselling them, their whole sports memorabilia, whatever thing, there were a few days that my 10 by 10 sold more than their entire store did. So finally the owner, and I understand now why he did it, but he went from whatever I was paying, $100 a month or whatever, and he's like, "Hey man, we're gonna have to raise your rent to about $1,000 a month," because he wanted me out so he could do it himself.
Mhm.
And so deadline to get out, and then I heard he got denied by the supplement companies because I already had an account with him for 2 years, so they denied him since he was kicking me out and trying to do it on his own, take advantage of it. And I talked to John Rossetti Company Real Estate at that young age when I was still in Poly, and he took a chance on me, and he leased out a building that he had built over in California Taft, that main spot that I was at 2 blocks from Poly. And I remember he called me one day and he's like, "Yeah, you don't really have any credit, you don't really have any money, but something about you," which again, great for the ego and all that. "I just trust you, and I think you're going to make it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to personally lease to you, my own terms, this and this and this for the spot. And just be honest with me about how you're doing." Wait, I mean, nobody gets a chance like that.
No, no.
That was just, that was
Hey,
cool.
that's the energetic field giving back. That's the universe giving back to you.
Right. And so what I did was, to prove myself, I was still finishing up at Poly. And what I would do is I'd have the most sporadic hours. We made jokes about the hours sign
Yeah.
that we're going to put up. Remind me later. We still need to do that. That's going to be hilarious. But those were my real hours back then. So I'd be open from 9 to 10:15. And then I go off to my marketing class and whatever. And then we'd be open from, 3 to 6. And then from 6 to 8, I would be open. But I would have my tutor come in. I'd have different tutors, a math tutor, marketing tutors come in and tutor me on my homework and stuff while I was at work. And then I'd just break for customers every once in a while. But nobody complained. Nobody really cared. Everybody was pretty cool about it. But it's one of those, you got to do what you got to do to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's closed to go to class, you'd be closed to go to class. So that's that was part of me proving, but really honestly though, proving to myself that I really wanted it and I was really going to do it. Because it could have been really easy to just go home, go to sleep between classes. But I wanted it bad enough. So, I did what it took to be open when I could. And I don't regret a minute of it.
So what's the mindset that goes behind, you kind of alluded to it right now, but what's the mindset that goes behind, in the drive that goes behind wanting to succeed so bad? There's a guy, his name's Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher. He says you got to want it as bad as you want to breathe. That's when you're going to succeed. So
that's the thing. You got to want it. You got to want it more than you want anything else. If you really want to thrive, if you want to be an expert in something, and I mean really be an expert, if you really want to succeed, the same thing. It's the same concept as you got to want it as bad as you want to take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how it is with athletes and entrepreneurs or musicians. You got to want it. You got to want it as bad or more than you want to breathe. Sometimes that sucks and you miss out on social events or family stuff or you got to make those sacrifices. But man, I can tell you, it's, as you know, because you've done it, it's worth it. It's absolutely, at the end of the day, if you really love it and you really want it, it's worth it.
Yeah, and I agree. Just even in my profession, just moving forward, I had so many barriers to entry, and just being, and we talk about this all the time, being a man of color, in the position that I'm in.
It's hard for us.
It's challenging.
But no, that's kind of what I was alluding to in your realm. But go ahead, yeah.
But it is challenging. It's challenging for anybody, but it's challenging even more when, a few 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when I got into the profession, there weren't very many people that looked like me who were doing what I was doing.
Right.
And having the experiences that I was experiencing. So I had to, be extra sharp. I had to be extra, on top of things. And I felt like I couldn't make mistakes,
Right.
It had to be even that much better,
Yep.
So my mindset was like,
that's true.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it in you. I mean, even in the last year, even this year, I've seen some of the struggle and some of the things that you've had to go through where I can't even pretend like that I've been through it, but I can look at it and say, wow, that's messed up. But you don't look at it that way. For the most part, you're just more like, hey, I got to do what I got to do. This is part of it. Mm-hmm. Which, right or wrong, you're right in doing it that way. And it just helped to open up my eyes on a lot of things.
What we talk about all the time, me and you, is that there are no excuses. Sometimes you just have to own your own shit. Whether that shit is good or bad, right? Well, most shit is bad, but you got to own your own shit. And so it's only when you accept it that, hey, I did it.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, guess
that was
me.
Yeah, that was me.
Yep.
And sometimes you don't understand. Yeah, sometimes you don't understand because your understanding only goes as broad as your world, your own understanding, and sometimes you really don't get it. Like how did my actions cause this reaction, and I'm in a situation now where I feel like I'm being unjustly done, and that's the wrong mindset to have. Sometimes, because people are dealing with their own stuff. And so they have their own agendas, biases, and beliefs, and you have your agendas, biases, and beliefs. And so when those things clash, it causes a reaction.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And unless you're willing to be open to receive that maybe, just maybe, I'm wrong.
Maybe, just maybe. That's or not.
That's where you're gonna be stuck. You're gonna be stuck at that level, and that's all based in the ego, and that's all based in, self-limiting beliefs. And so tell me, what have you done to take the self-limiting beliefs off of your life that has allowed you to grow, even past Cal Poly, your education at Cal Poly, your business degree, your early years, and you're continuing to grow. Like most businesses don't stay open for almost 25 years. That's almost unheard of now,
Right. What it is it's just a matter of perseverance, kind of like what we talked about. But I had some things going on where certain circumstances, whether it was a financial decision or the wrong or handled wrong relationships, both with friends and with dating and whatever.
Yes.
But I had to realize that for the most part, meaning like 99% of it was on me. And once I realized that making excuses and all that was a go nowhere, BS way to live life. And once I finally started owning my own bullshit, once I started owning my own, which embarrassingly wasn't that long ago. It's just been the last few years. but things have turned around, reasonably rapidly. And, I'm really happy with the success that I have right now. It can always get better, and it is always getting better. But I'm never going back. So I'm taking things slow, where you're able to.
Mhm.
And then I'm, fast forwarding the other stuff, some of the other good stuff. But yeah, that's just the perseverance is such a big part of it.
Sometimes you tell me all this. You actually, I got this from you. I use this all the time now. Sometimes you gotta go through it to get through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
there's no way.
Oh,
Yeah, there's no way around it. There's no way around it. Sometimes,
Yep. Yep.
and that's part of dealing with the shadow self. That's part of dealing with the parts that you don't want to deal with. That's part of not owning your bullshit. Is you gotta.
I got out of bed early today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was late. I was sleeping, but I got out of bed earlier than I had to today, which is rare. It shouldn't be, because of some tax liability, some other just random thing that was bugging me, and I needed to get in my email and get it taken care of so I could function for the rest of the day. Instead of avoiding, it's the same thing as got to go through it to get through it, and all that is the same thing as that. If you don't take care of your troubles are going to take care of you.
Absolutely.
And I'm firsthand on that in too many different ways. But the one other thing though, tying back to that, is my motivation, and I still surround myself to people that are either not necessarily saying more successful than I, but most of the time more successful, but just have that persistent mindset. And it just I happen to have you, and I happen to have Matt here right now. And one thing that I draw a huge amount of motivation from lately, even if you guys haven't seen it, is that both of you guys consistently will throw out like, man, I really did not want to work out today. I didn't want to go for that hike. I didn't feel like going to the gym. But I don't want to say always, but pretty much always. You guys pretty much always go and do it, regardless of how you feel. That's not motivation. That's dedication. And if it's between motivation and dedication will win every single time.
Yes.
And then also same devotion to your craft, not to put anybody's business out in any way, but all three of us have had some pretty sweet job offers this year. And it's very tempting, and all that. I had a 6-figure plus job offer that I think I made the right decision, because I know we're going to make significantly more than that over the next year, but it would prevent me from doing that and from doing what I'm all doing. I mean, we're all in the same position on that one, is that everybody, but once again, you look back and you figure, all right, I look to you guys because, I don't have, I've never been married, don't have any kids. And, luckily my mom's reasonably self-sufficient and all that, but still, when you got to look out for, your relationships, whether it be your daughter or your mom or whatever it may be. And I watch you guys continually make the right decision. And I'm like, damn. And I think for a second, like, am I strong enough to have made that same decision? I think I am. But it helps me a lot to see you guys doing what it is that you're doing. Whether it's a workout, a job opportunity, moving, family, whatever. So you guys are killing it on that. And I think that motivates not just me, but everybody around you guys too.
And you said something key. You said motivation, is, I'm going to say it my way. I'm going to paraphrase it my way. Motivation is external. Motivation is driven by, something outside of yourself. You need the energy drink, or you need somebody to give you an encouraging word or whatever. Where versus what you're alluding to is inspiration, where inspiration is internal. That's the internal drive. That's the drive that I don't need anybody to tell me what I should be doing. I already know. And then because I know, now my power is with the intent on doing it. It's the power of intention. Intention is huge in, creating your reality and manifesting the things that you want to happen in your life.
Yep, I agree. And again, you touched on that too, and we've talked about manifesting. Hey man, that's real. I mean, if you choose to believe or not believe in it, but there is really something undeniable about manifesting things and putting them out there in a positive way or a negative way.
Absolutely.
Also,
Yep.
you got to be careful what you manifest. That's why I get kind of leery of negative people, the people that are always complaining about something and whatever. You're not going to see me for more than about 5 minutes around somebody that's like that.
Yeah.
Not just because it brings me down, but I just don't want to be a part of what you're putting out in the universe. I just don't need it.
Yeah. And let me tell you, the Matt, if he's your friend, you know, this is not to say that he's going to turn you away, but if he's your friend, you know, sometimes, you know, when I was going through some of my dark struggles and times, man, he would just sit there and he would just listen, you know, and I used to get so worried about, well, I don't want to bring any negativity to his life, or I don't want to, you know, just be, you know.
We talked about that.
and Matt used to tell me all the time, don't worry about it. You know, you're not being negative. You know, he would just sit there and he'd just listen to me. You know, and I had a lot on my chest. You said,
way, you know, because think about, you know, I've gone through some dark times, and it's just, if you can just care enough to listen to somebody, as you know, because like I said, like you just said, you weren't being negative, you know what I mean? You were in a bad way, and it really wasn't even your fault, but you weren't being one of those negative people. You were more like, well, this sucks, but how are we going to get through this? You know, what's it going to be like on the other side? Where a lot of people just give up and just turn into negative garbage people, you know, that just quit. But, you know, you always, I knew with you, there was always something on the other side, which, I mean, obviously I was right.
And you saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. Oh, I think we lost him.
You got it?
Yep. I said, you saw something in me in the moment that I didn't even see in myself. Because it was such a dark time, you know, and there was times where you would just say to me, hey, just come back tomorrow. And I would come back tomorrow, man. And what you were saying is, hey, tomorrow's another day. That's what you were saying. That's what you would get into. Tomorrow's another day.
Yep.
Just keep coming back.
Yep. And it was, and it did, and you did, you know, and the next thing you know, we're laughing so hard we're crying.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You know, in front of people that think that we're crazy.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I remember your famous quote, bro, listen, man, I promise you, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, who you trying to convince, me or you?
No, I know. I was probably both. Hey, but what I was speaking to earlier is, you know, I was so worried about what other people were thinking about me.
Right. Yep.
And I was so worried about being defined by the circumstances. And what I didn't understand is circumstances really don't matter. You know.
Yep.
When you're in
even though it feels like
the
world, we're in it.
Yeah, but the circumstances really didn't matter. You know, what mattered is how I started to talk to myself, how I started to define myself. You know, and when I started to define myself in a different way than what the reality was showing me, that's when the shift occurred.
Yep.
You know.
Well, it's like you said, it goes perfectly with the how to overcome obstacles. I mean, you couldn't put it, that story of all of that, not to get too into it, but I mean, that story is prime overcoming obstacles. You know, we were just kind of laughing about it earlier, about how far we both come.
Yes.
And like, man, that seems like, you know, this long ago, and we're laughing about when it really was. And man, that was a good reminder of where we're at.
Man, you know, yeah, like not to touch on it too heavy because it doesn't matter. Circumstances are long gone now.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm just speaking a little bit to my experience and my fears and my biases and things that were affecting me negatively internally inside. And it wasn't so much what was happening outside of me. It was happening. All of that stuff was happening on the inside of me. So my question to you is, what is it that you fear the most? Is it being less relevant or being more relevant? Is it being left behind, or is it not living up to your potential?
You know what? You nailed it. I mean, it's because you know me, but you just said three things right there. They're like, yep, yep. All of that, because I got to wonder every once in a while with some of the choices that I still make. Even I'm way better than before, but ever since I cut my drinking way down, that was a big part of it. As a lot of people deal with as they grow up, and like I said before, never married, no kids. That's not a brag. That's something that I think about a ton. Talk about getting left behind or becoming, more irrelevant than increasingly relevant. So that's a part of this. I want to, I know that I still have a solid amount of relevancy and then some, but I just need to behave in that way. And so, yeah, those are the big fears. I know I got the support of the community and I run a good business, and I know that stuff is not in any real danger, knock on wood, whatever, but it's just a matter of disappointing myself is a big, and that's where I said I draw motivation from you and Matt, going to the gym, going to hike, doing something when you don't feel like it. That's affected me a lot lately, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow. I'm not ready to share that quite yet.
Understood.
But
yep.
When we record part 2,
hey, we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah. It'll be out there. It'll be public, and I'll be proud of it. You will too. But yeah, you're right. You nailed it on all of that as far as because the obstacles never stop coming. Even I know people that are retired and well off that still have problems.
Yes. Yes. Duality. What you're speaking to is duality. Duality is cause and effect. It's the yin and the yang. It's you can't know up without there being a down.
Yep.
As I was saying earlier, you can't ascend to the heaven if your roots can't first ascend down into hell. So you can't know.
Yep.
You can't grow without there being the equal and opposite. And so,
that's
typically,
right. For some people, that's a hard learned lesson. It was for me, because I always make the joke about, oh well, before I had my little downfall, it was I thought money was endless, and we've talked about that before. How I look at it now, how I used to look at it, but I had that nice ass 5-bedroom house rental, but still, I still had that place, the Arbors. I had the 2 black Escalades backed into the driveway, and I thought that money, material. Well, first of all, I thought it was never ending, but I just kept waiting for it to make me happy, and it just the happiness never came. But the stress and anxiety about keeping up appearances and keeping up money and all that, was real. And like I said, I didn't want to feel like I was faking it or anything. But I mean, living high on the horse like that, traveling around Europe and doing all this stuff, yeah, that's fun. That's fine. But what else did I sacrifice? Family, maybe, wife, kids, maybe, if that's what's supposed to happen. But, I made a lot of really dumb, young mistakes that I know I'll never make again. If coming back into that realm, I don't see living like that, unless I, yeah, sure. If money was again endless, like I thought it was back then, I might, responsibly do some shit like that. Like, I can't wait until you got that white G-Wagon and I got that black one parked next to you outside of Firestone or whatever.
That's right. That's right. We're manifesting.
That's different.
We're decreeing the thing. Yep. We're commanding the thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
That's it, man. It's, hey, put it out there, man. All of that.
Yeah. You don't wish for a thing. You make it happen.
That's right. And there's a big difference. People don't, I love you. I'm glad you said that too, because there's a big difference between manifesting versus wishing and yes. all of that. Because wishing is just, I want that. That car's baller. it's oh man, I'm gonna do that.
Yep.
That's where I'm going.
I'm going to have that.
Yeah, it's a big difference. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And it means more now. The Escalades before were just, attention or girls or whatever. And I didn't ever really let it set in after I paid them off. It didn't really set into me that I wasn't doing it for me. I really didn't care. So, now at that point, I feel like I've solidly learned the lesson between the difference and all that. And I feel like I've grown, mentally a ton by learning that lesson.
It is a hard lesson to learn, because it's not so much, and you can correct me, it's not so much the material thing, right? Heaven on earth, heaven was meant to be lived on earth, not when we so-called die and go somewhere. We make this place what we want to make this place. So, but it's not so much the thing that defines you. It's what it means that defines you, what that meant, the energy that went behind that for that thing to happen. Some things just don't come into your life just happenstance. It doesn't work like that. We typically don't have the lottery ticket, or we could just scratch it and it just shows up. It doesn't work like that. Typically, if something like that happened, we'll speak to it. Kanye is a billionaire, not because he didn't work for it, not because he wasn't a genius. You can say whatever you want to say. He became a billionaire because he made some decisions. There was an energy behind that, So if you want the two black Escalades backed up in the five bedroom house, you made decisions for that to happen. There was an energy behind that. Now, energetically, it might have been for the wrong reasons, quote unquote, the wrong reasons. but the fact of the matter is that you're part of the 5% to ever do something like that.
Right.
There's not too many people who can do that.
It did. The fact that I didn't really fully appreciate it and continually work for it and make this part of decisions is a lesson in itself.
Absolutely.
Because just like you said, the idea of it, whatever anybody believes, and I'm not even talking about religion or whatever, maybe a little, but whatever, is that, about, like you said, heaven is supposed to be here in our time, because you're never guaranteed. Nobody knows what happens. And I'm not the type of person to just wait. But I'm also not gonna sell my soul to the devil for some material, whatever, that kind of stuff either. But what I learned through it is that just as much as you should create, to the best of your ability, heaven on earth, it's so much easier to create hell on earth and put yourself into positions that are just miserable. And a lot of people don't think about that either. But it's just, you're going to go one way or the other if you're really living life. And so, you can have, your own heaven or hell here. It's just something that needs to be learned and accepted.
Yep, learned and accepted. I love that, man. I love the idea and the concept of acceptance. Me and you talk about acceptance all the time, and that's acceptance is really a very high vibration energetically. When you accept something, you're saying I choose to deal with whether it comes or it goes. I'm good either way.
Yep, I'll be all right.
I'll be all right either way.
Flourish. I will flourish and thrive to the best of my ability in spite of whatever is thrown at me.
Right.
Yeah. So we both deal with that. We still deal with that every day, even though things are better for both of us. We still, and I think we both understand that we're going to have to deal with that, ongoing every day.
Yes.
But you accept it, and it's not a burden anymore.
Right.
Just like I accept that I'm probably going to have to do a lot more cardio for the rest of my life than I want to do. But hey, I get to go do cardio because I can still walk.
Yeah. That's it. Ooh, get to. I love that. Absolutely. Yeah. I get to do it. A lot of people, whatever situation that they're in, They don't understand that they probably prayed and begged and whined and cried for the situation that they're in. And then when they get the situation, they take it for granted. And they're like, oh, I don't want to go to work. I hate this job. When, probably a year or two before.
Oh, dude.
They couldn't wait to have that job,
Absolutely. Yeah, I get to do this because I keep the cussing down, and I know you don't mind, but I know that your show is on a variety of platforms, so I say other things. But what for the purposes of it, though, you know this because you knew me then. You knew me during this time where I'd wake up in the back of the shop in my little air bed. I had little blow up air mattresses, and I was just getting bigger, heavier, fatter, and those things are. But I wouldn't buy a bed not because I couldn't, but just because I would tell myself I'm not staying. It's temporary. Then I accepted the terms. I was going to have to be in the shop a little while longer, and a good friend of mine, Josh over at J. Carroll, saw that and brought me a bed that whatever, it doesn't matter. Grateful, just grateful. But before all of that, I used to wake up here every day, and the first words out of my mouth, over my eyes, was "fuck," out loud. Like Josh, the neighbor, would say something to me about it, and because he cared and all that, but he was concerned, and it was because I was in such a bad place that my dreams were so much better than my reality. That every morning, without even thinking about it, I'd wake up and go, fuck. I haven't done that in a long time. I can't remember the last time I did that, where I woke up and it was not where I wanted to be. It's not always the greatest. Wherever it is that I'm waking up, it's not always the greatest. But I don't wake up with regret every morning like I used to. And that's a mindset for sure. Say hello to Prince's podcast audience.
Hey, Prince podcast audience.
This is our buddy JR. And this is, everybody. This is our little buddy Carlito.
Yep.
Those celebrity appearance.
He don't want to be on film.
I could. Yeah. He's got other things to do, like eat cookies. Yeah.
Eating cookies.
There you go, buddy. I'll set you up in a minute. There you go. Okay, back to the show. He doesn't want to get down. Look, he doesn't even want to get down.
Okay. Uncle Matt.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway.
The power of acceptance is truly the power of the ability to choose, because we can't control the external circumstances around us. We can't control whether we perceive something to be good or bad. Things are going to happen. Things outside of ourselves are going to happen that are out of our control. And me and you talk about being stoic.
Yes, sir.
And what stoicism is, and the root and the core of stoicism is what is in your control versus what is out of your control. And what's out of your control, you can't do anything about that but choose to remain or be still. Yep. And when you be still or you just be quiet, most times things tend to work themselves out on their own without you even having to, meddle in it, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. And when you have to just sit back and realize that, what it comes from, because we talked about this earlier in here, and we talk about it all the time, don't want to lose anybody because of religion or any kind of stuff like that. But the Stoic, as you began to explain it to me further than what I knew about it, I started to realize and think about the serenity prayer, and I mean that's stoicism all day long. In the, grant me the strength to know what I can change. The one, what it is. Obviously, we talked about it 100 times, but that's some serious stoicism right there. Is to have that wisdom to know what you should stress about and what you shouldn't, and what you can control and what you can't, and the ability to let go of the things you can't control is stoicism at its core.
Yes. And it's the other core piece of stoicism is acceptance. And when you move into acceptance, you go into peace. The next level above, energetically above acceptance is peace. And above that is love. And so when you can kind of start to transcend into those higher levels of vibration, then your reality changes. What you see changes and is very different than what you were seeing before when you were vibrating at low vibrations.
Yep, that's it. You change the way you see it, which is why, for the most part, I still wake up in the same place, but, it's your outlook. And I wake up and go, oh, fuck, is different than my wake up like, oh, you know what? I get to go to work today.
Yeah.
Because, we were really lucky during the pandemic that we got considered to be conditionally essential. So we didn't have to close for that time. I had to do a bunch of inconvenient stuff, but I'm not complaining at all about that. And, it was just barely getting by during those times. But, if we would have been forced to close, I don't know what I mean, I'd be living at your house, sleeping on the couch. But we were lucky enough to not only be open, but towards the end of it, we actually started to thrive. And then once it started to kind of clear out even more the way it is right now, I mean, we're doing better now this week, this month, than we did last year, the year before, the year before. We're actually moving forward, month by month, year by year now. I mean, there's a little blip, pandemic blip, just like there is for basically everybody. But, we were lucky enough to be able to get that green light to stay open through all of it. And that's when I really started to get reminded of the I get to, not I have to.
And you're doing it, man. The pandemic definitely put threw a wrench in a lot of different things, a lot of different industries. And
yes, sir.
And like you said, you essentially became an essential part of, the stores that were able to stay open. And that actually speaks a lot to you and your part in the community, and how they saw you, because they could have easily said, Matt Gaines, MG Sports, we don't need that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they didn't need Vitamin Shop, NutriShop, the other two GNCs, and they didn't need any of that. And what's funny about it is a lot of people are realizing it now, and I don't really talk about it as much as I probably should. But during that time, who didn't lose their ass during pandemic was people like Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And free market. I'm not going to crap all over them doing what they do. We've deemed it necessary convenience or whatever. But what I like about our industry is that we were able to have price integrity and maintain all of our stuff. And so our customers now, every once in a while, we do our low price guarantee like we did when that guy screwed me 22 years ago or whatever. But it's funny now because somebody will be like, oh, will you match the Amazon price? I'm like, you want to pay $8 more? Yeah, I'll charge you $8 more. You want the Amazon price? Sure. I'll charge you $15 more. Here it is right there on their site for this and that. But it came in last week for some creatine or something. And I usually buy this Amazon. Can you match their price? And their price was $79 and ours was $40. I'm like, sure, if you want. Appreciate it. You looking out for me or you? And so, they took that time to increase all the prices. And some of it's inflation, but some of it's not. And I see it because I pay the same prices for the most part. But that's another benefit to us is that we haven't had to go ridiculous and, and charge $120 for protein that should be, half of that or whatever. But people are starting to realize when they go on Amazon, they expect that that's going to be always the lowest and always the whatever. And we could have raised our price, but that comes down to not price integrity, but human integrity.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of stuff we could charge more for. But if you are an 800 square foot mom and pop store in a small, beach town in California, it's in a reasonably sized college and all that, you're not going to succeed if you're charging full price on everything. They're going to use mom and dad's credit card on Amazon, or they're going to go do something, whatever. So we were pretty lucky. Without getting greedy was a big part of it. So skilled and lucky at the same time. But, just a message to anybody, not anti-Amazon, but whatever it is you're buying, it might not be the deal you think it is. So, check with your local shops first. You might be pleasantly surprised.
And so on that, I just want to say, hey, Matt, we've been almost 2 hours in on this conversation.
That's crazy.
I know. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty here, but earlier. But we'll get the kinks worked out. We definitely need to do a part 2 on this.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Me and Matt talk like this all the time. So this is high level. This is some really high level conversations that we have.
That's why it doesn't seem like 2 hours.
Yeah, I know.
I knew that going into, like, we did prep for the show. It was like, all right, 7, cool, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. And
hey, but can we give them a little teaser though?
What's the teaser? What you want? Hey, we're just gonna do part 2.
I want to spend a quick minute on Stoic AF. Just a little quick teaser.
So we're developing a product geared around stoicism, geared around bringing people back down, to where physiologically they're at a level where they can kind of be calm and think clearly and make really good decisions, because we're always in that fight or flight. Most of the time we're always go. So we have been talking around and throwing around, this product Stoic as fuck, Stoic AF, about ingredients that control cortisol level and control the adrenaline response, that allow you to be calm in situations where you normally wouldn't be calm. And so it's a whole host of other things that are going to go into this product line, and we have a few spin-offs from there, but that's the first one that's going to come out. It's going to be an amazing product. We put a lot of research, put a lot of time into this. It's going to be amazing. Actually, I think it's going to be a hit, as far as it's a niche group in the supplement realm, and I think we're going to control the market in that niche.
Yep, I agree. I mean, there are just recently this year, there are some anti-cortisol products coming out, but a lot of times they're skimping on the ingredients just to put on the label, proprietary blend. And we'll talk more about it later, but I still own Shocker Nutrition, where we had 40 something products in that line, and then Chuck came through with the Ultimate Iceman supplements, and I created all of those. And when you came through and we started talking about it, and I've created and sold off 3 different supplement brands that still exist. I've done consulting for every major brand that you can think of, but came to me and we were talking about this, and we were talking about cortisol. It wasn't even meant to be a business idea or a brand or anything. It was just, hey, what about this? Like, what about using the real ashwagandha extracts, and about using these things to just control people's day-to-day stress and whatever. And like I told you, I got prescribed Xanax for a while, and I started to realize how bad that can be for you, and started to realize that with the right ingredients and the stuff like that you don't need that. So I've been experimenting since and all that, and I haven't had a single third of a Xanax in a year and a half, and I haven't needed it, based on the stuff that we've been trying anecdotally. So anyway, like I said, just want to give a little bit of a teaser on that, but it's going to be a lifestyle brand, whether it's, just Stoic brand itself, or if it's going to be lifestyle products that are going to increase people's ability to sleep through the night and function a little more properly without the pharmaceutical industry getting their claws in you. Anyway, I just want to bring that up because that lights the fire, keeps us both going, but people want that. I hear it all the time. I had a guy that came in tonight right before we went on that was asking me about it, and he's just ready to go. He doesn't care how much it costs. He's just ready. So anyway, I just want to throw the teaser out there for people.
So what else are you working on, Matt?
Oh, besides that?
Yeah, what else are you working on?
There's another product-wise. There's a test booster that I'm working with Adam over Myogenics. We're working on that one, and I want to bring you in on that as well. Not just as a Shocker product, but also probably a Stoic product to do a little bit of hormone manipulation in a very natural way, without needles and side effects. So doing that, as you know, we're rebuilding the Owna Supplement Store consulting thing. That's still up there and out there. I got a call this week because we just updated the facebook.com/Owna Supplement Store. Has all the information on that one. But yeah, man, I've got solid 5-6 products or 5 to 6 projects that I'm working on right now. You're part of 3 of them. So, like I said, those are the previews.
Okay, well, cool, man. I enjoyed talking to you. Hey, you guys, listen. I have an ebook that's out. It's on Amazon right now. It's flashing across my screen. It's called 7 Ways to Lead Authentically. It's an easy read. Go get it. It's only $2.99. Like Matt alluded to, we're working on our product, Stoic, Stoic AF, and then I got a merchandise line that's coming out real soon. Some things in the work, and then I have my major book that's coming out that's in production right now. So keep an eye out. All of those things going to be dropping real soon. 2023 is going to be a big year for both me and Matt Gaines. Trust and believe. We're not wishing for things to happen. We're going to make it happen. We've been talking about it for a long time now. We've been talking about it for a year. And so it's time to get busy and get moving forward with some things. Matt has been to the pinnacle. I know. I've seen it. I've seen some of his work. I know. I trust and believe that he can get there again. So, and I'm just gonna hop on board with the ride.
Yes, sir. I'm on it right now. Bonfire.com/the real Prince Williams. We got some T-shirts. He's got some hoodies. Hopefully, we're gonna add some black to that because I pay full price for that all day. I'll probably wear it every day. And then at the same time, we got sometime in the next week or so, we're gonna have mgsports.com for some retail stuff. But in the meantime, just you can get more information from me for whatever it is you need, questions, whatever. You don't have to buy anything. I love doing this. So it's MG_supplements on Instagram or MG Sports Supplements on Facebook. But if you have questions about Stoic or whatever, feel free to hit me up on any of those anytime.
Yeah, and I also want to give a shout out to Matt Suarez. Hey, man, I appreciate your support. I saw you was on there. Thank you very much, man. Humbly, thank you. Appreciate it. And so I'll catch up with you guys at a later date. Matt, I'll probably see you tomorrow.
I will be here. You know where I'm at.
Yes, sir. Well, you guys have an amazing night. Thank you for coming on and talking with me. We're going to get this edited up and we're going to have it ready for you to kind of distribute because I think people need to hear more of this. And there's going to be a part 2 coming out of this. So,
there's absolutely. Right. And then some. On behalf of myself, Matt Gaines, Matt Suarez, who you can find on Twitch, our buddy JR, and Carlito. Thank you guys for listening, and we've got good things to come.
Absolutely. You guys have a good night.
All right, brother. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right.